So here we are once again. Good evening, folks. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. I'm Mobile Geezer, as you know, since you're on my channel, if you're on YouTube. And we're live every week, both from YouTube and from both of my Facebook IDs, which is Mobile Geezer and George Hayes. So please comment if you're new. And we do this every week. We go over some of the tech stories from the past week, from last Friday to this Friday. And I try to give you what I think is the big stories, and also to come up with a few stories you may not hear somewhere else. Some stories just gain legs and everybody reports on them, and other stories kind of get lost in the shuffle. So I try to come up with some of those every week too. So Eleanor was the first one in here, and she was here 20 minutes ago. And haven't seen anybody else make a comment yet. Usually Brian is in here. Oh, Google user. Okay. Well, I am glad you're here. Welcome. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And glad you commented. Very, very glad about that. Most weeks we have, I'm here in Tennessee, even though I'm a Jersey guy and I'll always be a Jersey guy. But Ted often joins me on the broadcast. He's in Dallas. We usually have some subscribers from friends from the Philippines, Britain, New York, California, sometimes Boston. So we get people from different parts of the United States and a few different parts of the world. So I've got a couple of new subscribers from Brazil. One of them seems to be keeping up with me with my Roku Max AR glasses. I'm learning about them slowly. I did a video the other day showing that I did successfully use them for the first time. So it'll be a learning experience, and I'll be putting up more and more videos about that as I go. So let me show you what we do here. I have a web page where I put the show notes for every Friday night. So I will show you that web page now. Let me get some of my branding out of the way first. So if you go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, let me go back and get the comment out of the way. Okay, mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, and you'll see Friday Night Tech Talk show notes with today's date. You click on that date, that'll pull up just the stories for tonight. So when I show that every week, I try to give you a little preview of what we're going to go over. So we all know the big thing this week was Apple's WWDC for 2023. It was a little more than 2 hours for the presentation. And even though I was working, I was sitting in the back of the van a lot, so I got to see just about all of it. The little bit I missed in the beginning, I came home and watched, so I've seen it all. And of course, we know what the big thing was. But so, first story, we're going to discuss the WWDC, everything that was announced. And that's going to be our long story for tonight. Then, of course, the Apple Vision Pro AR VR glasses. We'll go into that separately in this one. Oh, the first story I had was on digital trends, and this story is going to be on Phone Arena. And they go more into the specs than the other story does. And then finally, one more story, because that's all you can see this week is Apple Vision Pro. Everybody's got a video about it. And on Sam Mobile, they wrote an article, and I just said, it's aesthetically pleasing, but is it useful? Well, this talks about that a little bit. And then we'll leave the Apple stuff for a little bit. And we'll talk about Nothing Phone 2 renders, which Nothing Phone 2 should be coming out fairly soon, I guess this month or next month. And I said, are the renders real or fake? Because Android Authority came up with a story, and then Carl Pei on Twitter said, no, this is fake. So, is it fake? Did he want us to think it's fake? We don't know, but we'll see. So I decided to show the story anyway. And then, interestingly, there's been a little talk about Amazon Prime coming up with cell service. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit because that's kind of interesting. I'm a Prime member. Probably many of you are also. So, and finally, I guess Cortana is soon to be gone from Windows entirely, not from everywhere, but from Windows. So we'll talk about that. So those are the stories that we're going to talk about tonight. And of course, if you go to my webpage, you can follow along and click on every story with me. I read most of every story, probably the first one tonight. I won't read it all because it's a very, very long story. I'll let you know if Ted comes in. Occasionally, very occasionally, Will join it. Will got it in the comments last week. He didn't come into the broadcast. And of course, Mike's been door dashing every weekend. I think this is when he makes his big money for the week. And so it's not likely we'll get him in here, but Ted has been coming in here pretty regularly. So, okay. So nothing new in the comments. So I'm going to go on with the first story. So back to sharing screen. And we're going to start with WWDC. So all I said was all the WWDC 2023 announcements. So Digital Trends said everything announced at Apple's huge event. And this was that day, June 5th. So it was by Mark Jansen. And let me put this in reader view so we can get rid of some of these ads. There we go. Okay. As regular as the tides, Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference has become a big and highly anticipated part of our calendar, especially this year. As is usual, this year's keynote announcements will include, I don't know why he said that because I think it's already over when he wrote this, but maybe he wrote part of it before. All the usual improvements for iOS, iPadOS, watchOS, macOS, and more. But this year is also different thanks to the reveal of a brand new area for Apple, the Vision Pro headset. So it gives you all the contents. Like I said, I don't think I'll read every word of this, otherwise we'd be here a while. The keynote, see now he's talking in past tense because he was finished with the event. The keynote was jammed full of content as usual, and there's plenty to talk about. Here's a recap of everything Apple announced at WWDC 2023. And of course, the big thing is the Vision Pro VR headset. Well, is it a VR headset? Is it an AR headset? People have gone back and forth on that. Apple Vision Pro, everything you need to know about Apple's first AR. See, here he calls it AR, here he calls it VR. It's kind of both, really. An Apple-branded augmented reality, virtual reality has been rumored for years and years, but it's finally here. The final part of the WWDC keynote was dedicated to the Vision Pro AR headset, and Apple really went in depth, offering insights into the many possible uses for the new product, which is understandable as it's one of Apple's biggest new launches since the original Apple Watch. Yeah, that's for sure. And if you people did not see, I made a video the other day on my Roku Max, but half of that video I talked about the Vision Pro VR and all the videos that were out there, and I just kind of gave you my opinion on what I thought, and of course I won't be spending the $3,500 to get it, but I did say I would put 3 videos that I thought I gave a pretty fair assessment. One was from MKBHD, and he wasn't, there were so many videos that just praised it and didn't give any kind of the pros and cons. So he gave a little more balance to it. Juan Bagnell, some gadget guy who most of us really admire and know is very, very good at this time. And he's been doing this stuff for a very long time. He's not an Apple fan, and boy, did this show. He did a bit of a rant and he compared it to my headset, my glasses, and other people's headsets, and he made a lot of sense. And also, the other guy who I can't remember his name, but if you look at my video, you'll see he also gave a pretty balanced. He was pretty blown away by it, but he also gave a pretty balanced assessment of it. So if you look at my last video on my Roku headset, you'll see all three of those videos in there, and you can click on them and follow them, but they're all pretty fair. So let's get back to the story here. It's important to note that this product is not the long-awaited Apple branded smart glasses, which, a lot of people talked about glasses. These are not glasses, which are purely AR experience, which is like my glasses, and will probably look like a regular pair of glasses. Instead, the Vision Pro is a VR headset set to compete with the Meta Quest 3 and PlayStation VR 2, and sports a similar style with a broad visor and full head strap. Yes, it does look a lot like both of those. So it comes across as better in I guess my opinion and everybody else's, I guess, except it's not exactly the same as its competitors. Well, not in Juan Bagnell's opinion. It's just not this. It's not better. Most VR headsets are big and heavy items, and it's clear a slim build and lightweight were on top of Apple's goals with this headset. I don't think they achieved the lightweight, because every video that I saw, especially the ones that I linked in my video, all mentioned that it's heavy. And it's nothing but metal and glass, not plastic like other VR. So, of course, it is heavy. So your neck is going to get tired. Light materials have been used wherever possible, with more premium and heavier materials only used where absolutely necessary, which is the main part of it. Like the front of the device, which is entirely glass. There's a digital crown on the Vision Pro 2, borrowed from the Apple Watch, to provide a small element of physical control. It doesn't need much physical control. The headset's frame bends slightly to fit around your face, while the band has been designed to be as comfortable as possible. Inserts can be added for those who use glasses. I gather that can be a hassle from what I've seen in other videos. What did I say? Like to find okay, for those who use glasses, while the battery is connected by wire and can be slipped into a pocket so it doesn't weigh down the headset. What did Juan call that part with the battery in the pocket? Soap on a rope is what he called it. There are no controllers. Instead, the Vision Pro is controlled by your voice, hands, and eyes. That's true, completely. This headset is an extremely high-end entry into VR headsets, too, with each of the two displays containing more pixels than a 4K TV for unmatched crispness, and that's very true. It's powered by Apple's powerful M2 processor, the same chip you'll find in the latest MacBook Pro 13-inch laptops, and it's backed up by a new R1 chip created especially for the Vision Pro. It makes sure images are sent to this display in a seamless manner, eradicating frame lag that would impair the experience and freeing up the M2 to handle other processing. And in the demos, it did look very, very smooth. But of course, it was a demo. A blend of augmented reality and virtual reality, the Vision Pro is the first Apple product you look through rather than at. Like if you look there, you can see her eyes. Well, you're not really seeing her eyes, but it sure seems like you are. Apple is clearly intending the headset to be an extension of your existing Apple ecosystem. As such, the Vision Pro has all the same Apple apps as your phone and can access your photos, videos, and call contacts. And when we get to our third story, we'll address some of that. The array of sensors and cameras on the front, and I checked, there are 12 cameras of the device, means you can see your home through your Vision Pro, much like the Meta Quest pass-through feature. Apple intends for you to use this around your house as a place to construct your own augmented reality space. Apps can be placed in physical space and expanded or shrunk to your needs, and they can be anchored in place so they don't move when you do. Would you rather the real world fade away? You can add an immersive landscape experience instead of the real world, transporting yourself to a number of places and can fine-tune your immersion, i.e., whether you want to be slightly transparent or not using the digital crown, which is kind of cool. Incredibly, that pass-through of information extends to you. Using internal cameras and sensors, a live feed of your eyes can be displayed on the Vision Pro and indicates when you're using eyesight to see through your headset's camera. So if somebody walks by and sees your eyes like that, they're actually seeing the live feed of your eyes. This means those around you can see your eyes even while using the Vision Pro. This is a massive deal in the VR space. Yeah, I don't think anybody else can do that. As it stops users from being as locked out as they are in other headsets, even if it does look a little uncanny valley. Yeah, I guess it would be kind of strange when you're walking by. These same cameras and sensors are also being used for security, which is, as ever for Apple, a big part of the Vision Pro. The headset will use your eye's unique iris information to unlock your device, a feature Apple is calling Optic ID. Now, of course, there are already videos saying, yeah, and they're also storing all this information on you that they did not have before, which is true. So keep that in mind. As you'd expect, the Vision Pro works well with existing Apple accessories. The Magic Keyboard functions with Vision Pro, and incredibly, so does your Mac. Load up your Mac, and it can spring to life with Vision Pro, giving you a much larger screen to work with. Apple boasts this will work well within an office environment, whether in person or when working from home. After work, you can load up a streaming service and immerse yourself into a 3D movie on an incredibly rendered 100-foot screen. Now, of course, my AR glasses, the Nreal AR glasses, some others will also do the same thing as far as giving you a big screen to watch when you're wearing those kind of glasses. And I've watched 2 movies on mine, and it's been awesome. It's like I've had this huge screen right in front of my face. So that they do the same as others. 3D motion on videos and spatial audio means memories and experiences will be even more immersive than ever on Vision Pro and can be captured directly from the Vision Pro for experiencing later. And I'm not entirely sure what that really means. I guess you can save it somehow. Vision Pro also supports Apple Arcade games and comes with PlayStation DualSense control support, making it the one-stop space for work and play. Now, over 100 games will be ready on launch. Now, the launch is next year, I guess January, February. So the funny thing is, in their demo, they didn't really show them playing any games at all. Another surprise guest for the keynote, Disney's Bob Iger, dropped by to endorse the Apple Vision Pro and announce Disney's support. Disney Plus app support will be available from day one, but for now, the deeper implications of Disney's and Apple's partnership remain to be seen. Yeah, I'm sure Disney hopes this takes off because they've been on a down. They've been on a down for a few months now. A speculative video teased some features that Disney is apparently working on and included additional context windows when watching Disney shows, special Disney VR environments, the ability to watch sport games from inside the arena, that's cool, interact with Marvel's What If series, and more. So I'm not going to read all of this, but Apple clearly has a vision for Vision Pro, and can people afford this? Well, this thing is $3,500. So how many people are going to? I'm already seeing articles that some people think it's only for the rich. Others think it's no. It's not only for the rich. There'll be a cheaper version coming along. Hard to say. So that was the big thing. Now we're going to get to the other things that were announced at WWDC. The 15-inch MacBook Air, which I gather a lot of people have been asking for. Apple kicked off WWDC by introducing a new MacBook Air, a 15-inch variant of the regular 13-inch MacBook Air, and I have the 13-inch M1 version. So that's 2 years old, 2.5 years old. Apple claims it's the world's best 15-inch laptop with a thin and light but durable design, an extremely powerful M2 processor, which is stronger, which is more powerful than mine, and a gorgeous 15.3-inch Retina display. If you've seen and used an M2 MacBook Air 13-inch, then imagine that, but bigger. It comes in 4 colors, and it comes with the MagSafe charging port, 2 USB-C ports, and a headphone jack. The display tops out at 500 nits of brightness and has a 1080 webcam above the 6 spatial speakers below. Apple claims it will have 18 hours of battery life, which is pretty good, I think. The MacBook Air 15 will cost $1,300, $1,200 for every educators. The MacBook M2 MacBook Air 13 will get a small price drop to celebrate, falling to $1,100, while the M1 MacBook Air will, that's the one I have, will fall to $1,000. And I got a refurbished version, so mine didn't quite cost that much. And I've had mine for 3 months, 4 months, something like that now. I think I made a couple of videos when I got it. New Mac Studio and Mac Pro. The professional but tiny Mac Studio is getting new versions using Apple's most powerful new cores. There's now an M2 Max and M2 Pro version of the Mac Studio. But the new Mac Studio will also support a brand new Apple chip, the Apple M2 Ultra. Basically, 2 M2 Pro processors stuck together, the M2 Ultra is a stunningly powerful chip and is capable of 22 streams of 8K ProRes footage. That's heavy duty in Final Cut Pro, and is 6 times faster than the fastest Intel-powered Mac Pro. So that's really fast. And here's Ted. There you are. How are you, brother?
Hey.
He turned on the microphone for us. What a guy.
Sorry, I am late.
That's
I had
okay.
company over, and
just glad you're here.
I found time to get away.
Very good. Okay, I'm part of the way. I was going to say halfway through this first story, but I don't know how. It's a long story. I'm not reading every bit of it. But yeah, I guess I'm through the main part of it. Let's see. The new Mac Studio starts from $2,000, while the M2 Ultra Mac Pro starts from $7,000. Pre-orders open today, which was 4 days ago, with shipping starting next week. And now iOS 17. Apple has become a tradition. As has become tradition, the new version of iOS was a key part of the WWDC keynote. There's no big headline grabbing feature. Yeah, I just saw an article where somebody thought it was kind of boring. With Apple focusing largely on quality of life improvements over fancy new additions. But even with that in mind, there are plenty of reasons to be excited about the iOS 17. Now, if you look on the latest article on Android Central, he has the exact opposite view. He thinks the whole iOS 17 is kind of boring. iOS 17 will add personal contact posters when called by specific contacts, which I thought was pretty cool, giving you the ability to customize your contact screen the way you customize your lock screen, which is cool, I think. That's not the only part of the iPhone being updated, as Apple is also adding live voicemail. This feature, similar to the Google Pixel's call screen, offers a real-time transcript of a voicemail, which I think is great, so you can choose whether or not you want to pick up a call. Finally, FaceTime is also getting video voicemails, So you can leave a message for someone even if they're not available at that moment in time. So I think the whole thing, all of this stuff is pretty good. Messages is getting a few upgrades too. You'll be able to create search filters and get a catch-up arrow to jump to where you left off in a particular chat. That's very good. So you don't have to keep scrolling to get back to where you left off. That's great. Messages is also getting a live location feature, which comes hand in hand with the new check-in feature. Check-in is a safety-conscious feature that lets specific contacts know when you'll get home safely. And it also lets specific contacts know if it seems as if something has gotten wrong on your way home.
It also lets you know if your woman is stepping out on you while you're out working.
Well, and that could be misconstrued. I mean, how many times when I'm riding my bicycle, that has asked me, have you fallen? And I've got to stop riding my bike and say, no, I have not fallen. I just went off a curb. So I'm thinking this could go wrong in some ways too, you know.
And make sure your kids are at home and are not gallivanting with those bad kids on the corner.
That's true.
That check-in
Very
feature is going to be problems.
See, I live in a small city. You live in Dallas. There are no bad kids on the corner here. That's a lie. I can't tell that lie. There are parts of Chattanooga with bad kids on the corner, just like every other city. Oh well, I tried. All right. On a lighter note, the sticker feature has been expanded with a new sticker drawer, the conversion of all emojis into stickers, and the ability to use stickers anywhere on iOS. People get excited about stickers. I don't, but some people do. So I guess that's good. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all of this. There's a new journal app. You guys can read the rest of this if you want. And then there's iPad OS 17, which a lot of the same stuff, but of course, iPad OS 17 will be getting a lot of the same updates and tweaks as iOS 17, but with a few additions just for the large screen operating system. Widgets are getting improvements in iPad OS 17, and you'll be able to quickly interact with any widget on your home screen without needing to shift the widgets app. I think that's very cool. Lock screen customization is also arriving on iPad OS 17, and it means you'll be able to customize your iPad's lock screen to match or contrast with your iPhone screen. Again, I think that's cool, with the benefit of seeing it on a much larger screen. Live Activities is also coming to iPad OS's lock screen, as well as the ability to show multiple timers at once. All right, so you can read the rest of this. Then, of course, there's Mac OS Sonoma. As expected, for the Macs, of course, the new version of macOS debuted at the WWDC keynote. Named macOS Sonoma, this new update includes a lot of the new additions coming to iOS and iPadOS. Sonoma includes a number of stunning new video screensavers which slowly scroll across gorgeous scenes from around the world. Do you love widgets? We do, and so does Apple. Sonoma is adding the ability to add widgets directly to your desktop. You can add them wherever you like. I like that. And they intelligently adapt to what you're doing on your Mac at any time. They change color depending on your wallpaper, which they borrowed that from Android, I'm sure. And when you're using an app, they'll fade into the background so they're less distracting. Like iPhone and iPad, Sonoma's widgets are fully interactable directly from the desktop, so you can read the rest. Audio and video updates, and of course, watchOS 10. There's a lot of updates to that, and I'm not going to go through it all, but you can read it. And then there's mental and physical health tools also. So I told you, this was a long article, so I knew I wasn't going to read it all, but you guys get the idea. So let me take this out of preview. Let me stop screen. Ted, you still there? Now he's got his mic muted.
I'm always here.
All right.
Always watching.
He's watching. Watch out, folks. He's watching. Yeah. So it's like this. Exactly. So, how have you been this week? Have you had a good week?
Well, it's been a good, interesting week. I will say that much.
Oh, interesting. And interesting. That sounds kind of mysterious.
Hold on. Hold on.
He's gallivanting around the room. Nothing new in the comments.
All right. Sorry, I was not liking the colors.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
it's been an interesting week. You know, they got the WDC, and I was in the office this week.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think this is like one of the first Apple events that I did not make any effort to watch at all.
Okay.
But I gotta say, you guys, you, Will, Mike, we're all a drum about this WWDC more than ever.
Yeah, well,
Even the folks on the Discord.
It was a big deal one, kind of, and then of course with the Vision Pro, that just made it more of a big deal, and everybody's excited about it. But even with the Mac stuff and the updates, I think it was worth watching. And the 15-inch MacBook Air, that's a big deal too. So yeah. I was surprised that I was able to follow it all while I was working, but most of the time I was being driven and I was able to watch from the back of the van. So I was good. And of course, I always have my earbuds with me. So, of course, nobody's bothered by whatever I'm doing. So that worked out well for me. So he's got his mic muted again. Okay. Are you going to go read the next story or am I?
Yeah, I got it. I got the story.
All right, let me go back and share screen again.
Well, if it isn't the thing that made George very happy, he invested in a Rokid.
Well, yeah, the Rokid is like 10 times cheaper. Yeah, I'm very happy about that. All right,
10
next
times
story.
cheaper, and what does like 95% of the things, or?
I'd say it does 75% of the things. Apple probably does it clearer and nicer, but for $3,500, they better.
But it
Anyway.
does it now too. You don't have to wait till next year.
That's true. Apple, I titled the story "Apple Vision Pro Specs and Features," and reason. Even though the first story had a lot about this one goes into it more in depth with the specs. So I thought I should include it. So this one was on Phone Arena. So whenever you're ready, sir.
All right.
Did we lose? Oh, don't be disappearing on us. All of a sudden, we can't hear you at all. I hear nothing. I see your mouth moving.
Meet the Apple Vision Pro, the human virtual reality headset. This was by Daniel Petrov.
All right, read a view.
Thank you. Let's see. Apple missed on releasing its long rumored glasses AVR headgear during the. That does not read well. Can you?
No, glasses AR VR. Yeah, he didn't write this right. He didn't write that sentence all that well. I'll say that.
No. It's the reader view. It messed it up.
I don't think so. Let me see.
Apple missed on releasing its long-rumored glasses AR VR headgear during the pandemic lockdowns when people were steeped in the digital and virtual to no choice of their own. But its first AR VR...
He didn't write the sentence very well, I'm telling you.
Yeah, you're right. But its first AR VR headset is now official, and it's not really called Reality Pro as initially thought. Instead, the new Vision Pro spatial computer, as Apple calls it,
Go ahead.
costs as much as 3 decked out iPhone 14 Pro Max headsets and comes with a number of hardware innovations or mixed reality applications from the educational through training to the gaming experience. Let's see if Apple has cracked the code of making AR VR contraptions mainstream.
at $3,500. I don't think so, but we'll see.
Apple Vision Pro is the most elegant VR headset.
That's true.
First off, the ski goggles analogy used to prior Apple's mixed reality headset announcement was spot on, and it is as it's barely thicker than a pair, but its frame looks pretty breathtaking too. All right, next article on this. I'm sorry.
No,
No.
that one reads okay, as it's
No.
barely
It
thicker
sucks.
than a pear, but its
It
frame
sucks.
looks
Daniel
pretty
sucks.
breathtaking too.
Next one. Is there another? Did you do another? There is another story on this. Let's go to the next story. I'll do it.
No, all right. Let me finish reading this one then.
It sucks, George. Bad writing.
This one read okay. Let me finish reading this one. Okay, the large external display comes as a brilliant humanizing twist that projects real-time scan of your facial expression behind the ski mask to the outside world automatically when somebody passes by and prevents the wearer from looking dorky. A lot of people disagree with that, like with most other such contraptions.
That's the thing I was confused about.
Go ahead.
What's the utility of the feature that someone can see your eyes if the wearer can't see you?
No. The wearer can see you too. No. You see, both can see each other. Normally,
Okay,
with
so it shows your eyes when you
Right.
can see the person, right?
Right. Yeah, just like
Okay,
with
that's
mine.
good.
With mine, I can see the person, but of course, they wouldn't see my eyes. So I think it is kind of cool that they can see their eyes.
Okay, I see the point now. Okay.
Okay. Vision Pro charging. The headset's charging solution is also very elegant with a round magnetic charger that can be attached on the side to deliver power from the external battery pack with a clockwise clicking motion to keep it secure while using the gear. An Apple Watch style digital crown brings a familiar interface navigation system that can toggle between augmented reality, where the imagery or interface becomes semi-transparent so that the user can still see the outside world, and full VR immersion. Yeah, I thought using their crown for that was a very cool thing to do. A number of outward-looking cameras provide that AR feel, which records the outside scenery and take depth measurements for the navigation via hand gestures and eye control. In fact, this is Apple's first 3D camera set, as it proudly boasted from the stage. And some of those movements, it was almost like watching Iron Man do his swiping gestures. So I thought that was pretty cool. Can I use the Apple Vision Pro with glasses? Unfortunately, the premium VR headset's sheer elegance means you can't wear it with glasses. So Apple has provided space for prescription lens inserts similar to the ones your eye doctor uses during tests. Users with vision correction needs will use Zeiss optical inserts to ensure visual fidelity and eye tracking accuracy. So my guess is it probably would take you a little time to get your prescription for that, but still very cool. And I do find I can use the glasses that I'm wearing right now with my Rokid Max, or I can take my glasses off. Of course, I see pretty well without them too, but I can use it either way. Coming hot after the PlayStation VR 2 and the MetaQuest 3, Apple is using some of the highest pixel density micro OLED displays for the Vision Pro with, get this, 23 million pixels available for each eye on a Vision Pro display size of about 1.4 inches each. That's pretty impressive, yes, ask me. The PS VR 2 display resolution is the one to catch up with, and the Vision Pro returns a pixel density of about 4,000 ppi and offers wide color gamut coverage, ensuring that Apple's expensive mixed reality headset will be future-proof for quite a while. That's probably true. Powered by Apple's ultra-fast M2 chip in a dual configuration with a new dedicated R1 VR Core processor, and coupled with the 16 gigabyte RAM, the mixed reality headset is future-proof in terms of specs for the foreseeable future. It will be able to run all App Store games and iPad OS software without skipping a beat. But the fact that they didn't demo any of the games during the presentation says it's probably not ready yet. So, and then there's a comparison between the Vision Pro, the PlayStation VR 2, the Meta Quest Pro. Now, if I were going to buy one of these, I would spend the $3,500 and get the Vision Pro if I were going to get one of these. But I think I'll be happy with mine. Okay, Apple Vision Pro Vision OS software, and that's what allows you to see them and them to see you. As mentioned, the Apple's AR/VR headset will be able to run all App Store software that is available for the iPad. It features a very similar interface too, with grids of app icons on pages, and is able to multitask or run several apps at once. That I did not know. The new Apple VR operating system is called Vision OS, though as navigation is done via eye direction and hand gestures. I thought their eye capturing stuff was phenomenal, the way it does it. And from what I saw of MKBHD, it does it extremely well.
Okay.
Sensors on the inside of the gear read the user's eye position and facial expressions with the external cameras, while the external cameras pick up the hand movements. A look at an external object, an app icon, or an action button will select it, while pinching the index finger with the thumb can serve as the equivalent of a tap or a click. So that's pretty cool the way they did that, I'm sure. Yes, you can play all the Apple Arcade and other games. Well, you will be able to on the Vision Pro virtual reality headset. They can be played with the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller too, no matter if it is an NBA in car racing games or a shooter. Moreover, Unity developers will be able to build dedicated games for the Apple Vision Pro. So then it tells you about battery life, which is supposed to be okay. A lot of people are kind of worried about the battery life because with all these cameras and everything else, it's not going to be great battery life. They're saying 2 hours. So, but then it's so heavy, a lot of people are saying you probably won't be able to wear it for more than 2 hours anyway. So it kind of makes sense. Is it secure to unlock and use? Yes, Apple uses the brand new Optic ID iris scanner for personal identification, which means they're collecting more info on you. Optic ID is a new secure authentication system that analyzes a user's iris under various invisible LED light exposures and then compares it to the enrolled Optic ID data that is protected by the secure enclave to instantly unlock Vision Pro, says Apple. As usual, Apple encrypts the optic data in a secure enclave that never leaves Vision Pro. That's what you always wonder about with these companies when they say it doesn't leave it. Are they telling the truth? Who knows? And is not stored on Apple servers. So nobody can request it for identification or use it for malicious purposes. Yes, but can somebody use it to make money off you? How much? Apple mixed reality headset costs $34.99 and will come early in 2024 with a number of dedicated games and video conferencing software for business users. In the meantime, Apple will offer to experience the Vision Pro in its stores, will only be released in the U.S. with other countries coming later next year. Any takers? Not me. So, of course, Ted, if you feel like buying that for me, you feel free. just giving you an offer, just in case, Okay, nothing new. Oh, we have a new user called Google User. I haven't seen him before. At least I don't remember seeing him before, but I'm very grateful that he's here. So,
All
but
right,
you
let me
want to
this
do the
one.
next one, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do the next one.
All right. So that's going to be. What am I doing? Okay. The Apple Vision Pro, aesthetically pleasing, I said, but is it useful? Well, let's go to Sam Mobile and let Ted tell us whether or not it's useful. Whenever you're ready, sir.
Let's not be fooled. The Apple Vision Pro is just a fancy accessory. It's the second most expensive display, technically, that Apple sells.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Didn't think of that, but you're right. Yeah.
Yep. First being the XDR. By Danny Dorstein. Regardless.
I was thinking Dorestigen. I always try to pronounce these when I'm reading them. But yeah, we both took our best shot. So
Let's see. It had been long rumored that Apple was working on an augmented and or mixed reality headset. Even when the VR craze hit the mobile industry, Apple sat on the sidelines as Samsung and others released virtual reality headsets. Because as the saying goes, Apple isn't the first, but when they finally come out with something, they do it the best.
That's usually true. Not always, but usually.
Usually.
Yes, usually.
What did Apple do so well with USB-C that they waited so long to bring it on their products?
Well, they haven't even brought it on the phones yet. We'll find out with the next phone.
But for the other products.
Yeah, at least it works well on the other products. I'll give them that. At least on my iPad Pro.
But it doesn't work any differently.
No.
Qi wireless charging. What did they do new so well with that?
I'm just saying I will accept that they usually do it better, but not always.
Editing messages. What did they do like so well with that? Let's see. Anyway.
Okay.
The craze died down after a couple of years, and Apple was proven right. VR was a passing fad, and at least in the mobile industry, and Apple was right to not give it any importance.
I agree.
Yeah, I think when he says the mobile industry, I think he's talking about Google Cardboard.
Well, I was also caught up. I had like 4 or 5 VR headsets, and I stopped using them just like everybody else.
Which VR sets did you have?
I had Google Cardboard. I had 3 or 4 others. Real plastic ones. Can't think of what they all were now, but
okay. Was that one by Motorola? Anyway, it works in a way that's not going to be since then, Apple has given hints that it feels AR and AR MR, Disney Media AR VR, have a better use case. There were plenty of rumors.
I think they mean MR, but I'm not sure what MR stands for. Mixed reality. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have a better use case. There were plenty of rumors about the company's headset as well. Apple kept up the media feeding frenzy to keep people guessing. I don't know how they're keeping. It finally ended speculation this week by unveiling the Apple Vision Pro headset, even though Apple casually calls it a spatial computer.
Now, I'm not buying the special computer stuff, but that's just me.
It feels, looks, and works like a headset, so why not just call it that?
Exactly.
Because I can understand the spatial computer. It's computing stuff that it sees.
Yeah, to some degree, but I'm thinking if you want to do any real computer work, you're going to have to combine it with something else. You know, your MacBook or your Pro, your iPad or something.
Let's see. It works in a way that's not going to be unfamiliar for people who already use Apple products. Common apps like Photos, Movies, Safari are essentially projected on giant screens, and users interact with them using their eyes, hands, voice. Entertainment and gaming content is projected on a screen that feels 100 feet wide. It does come with some interesting interesting features too, such as ability to capture 3D photos and videos, customizable VR immersion, and video pass-through. Yeah, I think I saw some examples of that where like the parent was trying to do a 3D video of their kids. Mm-hmm. So he had the thing on, like trying to record them. I was like, yeah. All of this
you can. I didn't quite understand how that would work, but
all of this can be yours for $3,500. To put that in perspective, you can just buy 2 Galaxy Z Fold 4s for this price. Or I think you can buy a Mac Studio.
I would love that. Yeah, you could buy a Mac Studio. They're cheaper, yeah.
Or you could buy a MacBook Air with an Apple Studio.
Well, Studio, yeah, that would come out to just about that price for the 2 of them. That's true.
Or you could buy a AirPods Max with an iPhone 14 Pro, and then a MacBook Air, and then Apple Care.
You just letting
Plus.
your mind wander around in this, aren't you?
It's always fun to like, what could you do with that money? Like whenever Apple charges something wild.
Well, I would love to have a Mac Studio, but I don't have that money either.
To put that in perspective, oh no. However, as been the case with Apple products, we may see some of these features trickle down into a more affordable headset in a few years. I mean, yeah, it is Pro. We need to wait for the regular version.
Right.
The Apple Vision Pro does have potential, particularly for industrial and commercial use cases, but it's likely not going to have the same impact as Apple's other marquee products like iPhone and Apple Watch.
I agree.
Both left a lasting impression on their respective segment. A mixed reality headset isn't nearly as groundbreaking, and that's why it doesn't amount to more than a fancy accessory. It's no replacement for a smartphone or a conventional computer for that matter, since it can be used to get serious work done by itself.
By itself, I agree. Yeah.
It's not that portable and certainly won't fit in your pocket, so it can't really whip it out that fast.
Mine I can stick in my pocket. And remember, Juan made the same argument in his video that he can stick his in his pocket.
The Apple Vision Pro doesn't enable you to share the experience with others unless they have one too, which is a long shot, since not everyone in your family or social circle is likely to get it.
That's true.
The prerequisite for the ability to have shared experience means that the use of cases will largely be solo, and that's not going to be all that fun. Aww.
Right. And it's not likely somebody else in your family, because that means you'd have to have two of you who are real tech heads and real gung-ho for this thing.
It's not like, people getting FOMO because they're not on iMessage.
Exactly.
It certainly has its moments. Watching live sports on it would be fun, but one can certainly expect the novelty to wear off soon enough. There's an overall lack of development and the interest in the virtual reality space from content studios. And while Apple can utilize its content division to bridge that gap, the limitation is still going to be felt.
I agree.
Apple shareholders were probably thinking along the same lines, because as the Vision Pro were being announced, the stock didn't go up. On the contrary, it declined as investors were clearly not too excited about the limited availability and high price. I thought pushing the availability was sensible, don't announce it at $3,500 when you're trying to sell iPhones.
Yeah, and at the same time, I thought this was very telling, because I didn't realize that the stock went down. But they're right. When iPhones come up, the stock goes up. So, their shareholders are sending a message, I think.
But it's back up now. People bought the dip. In the past, we've seen significant hikes in the stock price when investors love the new Apple products unveil. That didn't happen this time around. It's going to take a few years before a clearer picture emerges of where the Vision Pro fits in Apple's arsenal. For all I know, it's probably going to be in the same ripple that the HomePod Mini is leaving.
I think there'll be a cheaper version in a year or two.
There's no denying that Apple has done a better job of creating a mixed reality headset than the others who have tried so far. The UX is miles ahead of you don't know the UX.
I'd say it's somewhat ahead of the competition.
But that has what to be expected from Apple. Yeah. As for whether it's revolutionary as some of its earlier products, the answer is a resounding no. Will it end up being an unfulfilled potential like the Google Glass? That device could have ended up with being a worthy accessory for smartphones, if not replacing them entirely, but Google decided not to pursue the idea. Apple may have charted a clear path to making the Vision Pro or its descendants a mass market product. At $3,500?
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see if it works out for it that way. For now, it's nothing more than a glorified accessory.
Yeah, like I said, I think there'll be a cheaper version out in the next year or two. That's my guess. I could be wrong.
Time will tell.
All right. Nothing new in the comments, so I will go on to the next story.
You cold?
And we're finally going to get away from Apple. So I said
cold?
nothing two renders, real or fake. And you'll see why I said that in the story. This was on Android Authority. So nothing phone 2 renders leak and iPhone 6 with LEDs and is an update. Fake. Call Pay has seemingly called leak nothing phone 2 renders fake. So for the update on June 6th, which was 3 days ago, Nothing founder Carl Pei has ostensibly dismissed apparently leaked Nothing Phone 2 renders as fake. The renders came via leaker Steve Ornlich's Hammerstoffer. We wouldn't usually bet against Hammerstoffer when it comes to leaks, because he's usually right, that's for sure. But it's worth noting that this Nothing Phone 2 leak was based on an image of a prototype, and he usually delivers leaks based on factory schematics. So it's possible that this prototype indeed doesn't reflect the final product. Then again, and I agree with this, it wouldn't be the first time a smartphone exec called leak friend is fake and the images turned out to be accurate. And that would certainly apply to Carl Pei, because we know he always has his agenda, which is making more sales. So that's why I kept the story in. The original article, which was from Monday, June 5th. Nothing has been teasing the arrival of the Nothing Phone 2 for a while now, confirming several specs last month. Now, a trusted leaker has given us our first look at the phone. And I forgot to put it in reader view, so let's do that. Sometimes it takes a minute to jump into reader view. Don't know why. Now, it's not jumping into reader view, and I did test it last night when I created the story. But I'll go on. All right, tips to Steve Ornlich's Hammerstoffer and SmartPix posted Nothing Phone 2 renders today. And our first thoughts are that the handset looks very similar to the iPhone 6 line. Check out the gallery below. So there's one picture.
You said the iPhone what?
Yep, close. He said
The
it's
iPhone 6?
very similar to the iPhone 6. Yeah. Let's see.
I'm not seeing it.
Oh, it finally, I see it to a degree, but not as much as they see it.
iPhone 6 had one camera, right? I think he means iPhone 11.
He might mean 11. I'm not sure. It finally jumped into reader mode, so okay. More specifically, we've got a similar metal frame as the iPhone 6 series, complete with antenna strips on each side. So that's where he's saying it. Otherwise, a Nothing Phone 2 maintains the same fundamental glyph back and camera housing as a Nothing Phone 1. We also get a left-aligned punch hole cutout on the front, which I can only show when I'm out of reader view. So, other notable features gleaned from these renders include a pair of volume keys on the left, a power button on the right, and a USB-C port and speaker grill at the bottom. Hot or not, there are a few other tiny changes noted by the outlet, such as dual LED flash and the Nothing glyph lighting being made of smaller separate lights rather than continuous light strips, ostensibly for more granular control. Either way, the Nothing Phone 2 definitely looks like an iterative design rather than a fundamental shift. We're expecting a more noble upgrade under the hood thanks to the confirmation of a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 SoC and a slightly larger battery. But we'll just have to wait for more leaks and official teasers to learn more about the phone. So let's go back and look at those pictures once again. Okay, so there's the camera on the left. Okay, so it's saying it looks around the
Okay, now I see
basically around
it.
the sides like an
Now
iPhone.
I see it. Yeah, on the sides.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's all sides. So,
There, that's where I see the iPhone 6. Look, okay, I stand
okay,
corrected.
all right. So just wanted to get through that. This nothing new in the comments. So the next story is going to be yours. And I just find this interesting. I said affordable or free service coming to Prime? That's my question. And this was on Mashable.
Wait, did I give you? No, I didn't give you the story. I gave you the
No.
story a week ago
Did you? Oh
on
yes,
Telegram.
you
Yeah.
did. And I never got around to it. Then I found it again on this one. So go ahead when you're ready. Let's see when it pops into reader view.
I wish I could just bring this camera down a bit, but anyway. So Amazon really lost it. Amazon Prime could include cell service someday, maybe. Excuse me for a second.
Okay.
There we go. Composition. Next door location. Maybe someday Amazon Prime will include your rent and health insurance too. For $165 a year, yeah, I hope so one day. Actually, hold on. It does include health insurance, right? Or
No.
pharmacy? It includes a pharmacy.
You have access, but it's not including the pharmacy.
The pharmacy stuff doesn't come with. There's no benefits with Amazon.
Not that I
Prime?
know of, and I've been a Prime
Okay.
member for quite a long time. But then, of course, you can't go by me because I'm a 78-year-old who takes no prescription drugs. I never use a pharmacy. I haven't used one in, I don't know, since my last operation, which was 7 years ago. So you can't go by me.
Let's see Amazon Clinic, how it works.
Yeah, every time I go to a doctor, I always get, you don't take any prescription drugs? Because people my age are supposed to take Grugobs. No, I take none, and I don't intend to take any. That's why I work so hard at it. When you're ready.
Amazon Clinic doesn't accept health insurance at this time. Instead, you pay a flat fee for the care you receive. You can pay with your FSA or HSA or submit your receipt to your insurer to be reimbursed. Can I use health insurance to pay for? Yeah, it doesn't really seem to be. There's not much for being a Prime member with Amazon Clinic. All right. Well, probably not. But one recent reporting indicates that Amazon wants Prime to intrude yet another.
To intrude
on yet another part of your life, according to Bloomberg. The $140 a year subscription, including free shipping, discounts, Prime Video, Prime Photos, among other things, could eventually include a cheap or free cell phone service. Bloomberg reports that Amazon is currently in talks with providers like T-Mobile and AT&T, though those providers deny the report in statements given to PC Mag. The article I shared said they were in talks with Dish.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't use that one last week. I just used this one from this.
The idea is that the cell service would be included with a Prime subscription, either free or for $10 a month. Where's Brian? I know he would have something to say about that.
Yeah, but if they're going to make it $10 a month, they'd have to give you the option to take Prime and refuse the cell service, which is what I would do.
That would obviously be a pretty massive bargain, which understandably could prompt cell phone providers to not enter a deal with Amazon out of fear of losing business. These talks have reportedly been happening for only 6 to 8 weeks, so it's not clear if Prime cell service would include things like a 5G network access. Whether it does or not, Amazon could see an additional perk or two to make Prime even more enticing to customers and for them to increase the price. The researcher consumer intelligence research partners, recently estimating that a Prime has 167 million US subscribers, down from 170 million a few years ago.
Right.
The high annual cost of the service, as well as the recent relaxing of COVID-19, may have contributed to lagging subscription numbers. It's hard to imagine Amazon Prime packaging more things into one subscription, but Amazon certainly seems keen to try.
If they keep losing subscribers, yeah, they might start panicking, I guess.
What's Netflix doing? Whew, they're losing subscribers.
They did it to themselves, and they're still doing it to themselves.
Like they did it to
I
themselves.
never feel sorry for people who do it to themselves. That's just me. But I'm a hard nose, and I'm known to be a hard nose. So. But I'm just as hard nosed about myself as I am to everybody else. So probably more so. All right, we're down to our last story, and this one is on me. So, and nothing new in the comments. Most of our regulars didn't come in today. Very surprising. Very, very unusual. Anyway, all right, this one's about Cortana. So I said Cortana to be gone from Windows soon. This is from XDA. RIP, Microsoft is finally killing Cortana on Windows. Microsoft confirmed it's killing Cortana despite recent denial. So Microsoft is talking out of both sides of their mouth. By Rich Wood. Yes, by Rich Woods and published a week ago. So let me go into read view. If it'll jump into read view. No, convert to read view fails. Cannot convert. Okay. Converted yesterday. All right. Microsoft is finally killing off its Cortana virtual assistant, at least on Windows. The company wrote today in a support document. The standalone Cortana app that you probably don't even realize is installed on your PC won't be supported beginning later on this year.
Oh no!
The news comes on the heels. The news comes on the heels of the announcement of Windows Copilot, which I reported on last week, which was shown at Microsoft Build 2023 conference just a week ago. Interestingly, when I talked to Microsoft's Aaron Woodman after the launch, I was told explicitly in no uncertain terms that Windows Copilot was not replacing Cortana. Like I said, both sides of their mouth, and that those serve two completely different purposes. In the support document announcing the end of the Cortana era, Microsoft notes that you'll still be able to access AI experiences in Windows 11 and calls out Windows Copilot by name. Alongside that, there's the new Bing Microsoft 365 Copilot and voice access in Windows, the last of which lets you control your PC with your voice. That I did not know. Pardon me. The writing has been on the wall for Cortana for some time now. It was first introduced as a virtual assistant for Windows Phone 8.1 back in 2014, competing with the likes of Apple Siri. That's not much of a competition. In 2015, it launched on the desktop with Windows 10, and then it started to feel like Microsoft was putting Cortana everywhere. It did for a while. It started showing up in apps like Office and such, similar to what we're seeing with Copilot now. I haven't seen it. There were third-party Cortana devices too, like the Harman Kardon Invoke smart speaker and the Johnson Controls glass thermostat, both of which are no longer supported. Soon after, it started becoming apparent that Cortana wouldn't compete with Amazon Alexa, that's for sure. Microsoft started to
nobody
roll back.
compete with Siri, it seems. Damn.
Well, Alexa, and nobody, even Google doesn't compete very well with Alexa. Alexa's just better than all of them. Cortana was stripped out of Windows, becoming a standalone app rather than something you found in the taskbar. For a couple of years now, it just kind of lived as an app on Windows 11 with no news arriving about any kinds of new features. Now is the era of Bing Chat and Copilot, that's for sure. In case you haven't heard any Microsoft messaging as of late, the firm is pushing hard with AI. Yeah, we knew that. and it's moving forward with GPT-4 rather than using a basic voice assistant like Cortana. Yeah, we knew that too. Microsoft pointed out that Cortana continues to live on in Outlook Mobile, Teams Display, and Teams Rooms, none of which I use. Outlook Mobile I use once in a while. However, if you haven't used it before on these products, it's probably not the best time to build a workflow around it. I would agree. So anyway, it should be gone from Windows. If not, it soon will be. So I just thought it was worth reporting on that. So get this back out of here. Get this back. And perfect timing. Now you are up for glowing rectangles.
All right.
And there it is.
Hello, people. Are you looking for a fun place where you can find tech reviews from folks who deserve more attention? Real person, real reviews, smaller blogs from YouTubers? Well, then go on over to www.reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles. Again, that's reddit.com, www.reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles. And there you will find a bunch of stories shared, not by an algorithm, but viewers and people like you. Let's see, what's the top story of tonight? Or this week, I should say.
What, anyone else? Oh, the new approach to third, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Apollo is closing. Oh no, they're closing. Sync. That's the best app for Reddit on Android. George, what are you doing?
What do you mean, what am I doing?
That's a top story right there.
I got the third-party apps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there.
Click it. Actually, that could be it. There's nothing more.
Yeah, there's nothing else there.
Well, it looks like I'll be visiting Reddit a whole lot less on mobile.
Well, you took us through that in depth last week about the fact that we'll be losing it, right?
I didn't know it was going to be gone. I thought they were just going to increase their prices to stay alive.
I didn't know. From what we read last week, I didn't think they could increase their prices enough to stay alive. So I think I was right.
Like $5 a year? $5 a month?
No, they're going to have to increase a lot more than that. So that was the top story for today. Boy, they're close between the top story. We got 7 votes on that one, but only 4 on the second story. And that's about Google I/O 2023. Why now?
It's a month ago, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we finally got to watch it. Interesting that. Now, I watched his Friday show today. And he's one of the ones saying, yeah, we're giving Apple a lot more information with these VR headsets. So he's a little suspicious about that. I kind of agree with him. You know, Apple can say what they want about them leaving it on the hardware, but we all, they're taking information from your eyes and every place else, and that, so they've got more information on you than they had before.
Do they have the information though, if it's on your own device?
And how would we know if they're taking it off the device or not? Just because they say they're not? I'm not buying that. How many times has Google lied? How many times has Microsoft lied? How many times has any of them lied? Do I trust Apple
anymore? Amazon lied. I think did we cover that story last week?
Amazon is the king of liars, but
did we cover that story last week when it turns out like Amazon was lied about them not keeping your Alexa Amazon Alexa recordings?
No, I reported on the EU story where they were fined for taking the stuff from and putting on American servers in the EU, but we knew that was coming months ago. But the
Oh, okay.
fine-
No. That was a different one. They were fined last week. Like it was like $30 million because they also kept recordings from kids too. Like instead of deleting it within like 60 or 90 days, they
That's
kept
right.
it.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They
Yeah, that's what I
kept-
said. They're the king of liars. But do I trust Apple and Google? And if they're telling me they're not taking the information, no, I don't trust them. And
Trust
obviously,
Tim.
neither does he.
Trust Tim. If Tim says it only stays on your device, then it stays on your
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's not the CEO of a money making organization, is he?
All right. I think that's it.
Okay. So let me get back out of here. Let me stop screen. I never put back my brand information, which I should have. There we go. So we got through it again. And the fact that you came in a little late, that's all right. You still came in and made it better. That's always a wonderful thing, and I'm always very appreciative.
I call it doing a mic.
Yeah, that's very, very, very true. He does know how to make an entrance also. I'm just surprised that none of our regulars commented other than Eleanor. It's very
Yeah.
unusual. I guess they're busy this weekend.
Yeah. Makes me think, are we missing something?
Not that I know of.
Super Bowl,
Anyway,
NBA
yeah.
Finals?
Huh?
Is
Oh.
it the NBA Finals?
I haven't watched any NBA this year at all. And plus the fact once March comes and goes, we now have my two favorite sports. Once March shows up, Formula One starts, and then right behind it, the IndyCar start. So Formula One is my favorite sport on earth. IndyCar is my second favorite sport on earth. So mostly
thought
I
it was
keep up
tennis.
with those. So I don't know what else is happening, but anyway, I guess people are busy. But that's our show for tonight, folks, and glad you came. Google user, thanks for being here. Eleanor, thanks for being here if you're still here. And I hope everybody has a very blessed weekend. And as when I remember, I always say, let's always remember we all do better when we love each other. So have a good weekend. We'll be back next Friday and see you guys then. Thanks to Tate for being here once again.